So, you're born on the coast of Colombia, and from the moment you take your first breath, you've already won a lottery that most people don't even know exists. Your crib costs more than the average family home. Your nursery has a view of the Caribbean that millionaires would kill for, literally, in your family's case. But you're not like the typical rich kid who thinks daddy runs a shipping company. You know something's different. You just don't know what yet. On your 7th birthday, your father pulls you aside. No cake, no clowns, no presents, just the two of you in his office, the ceiling fan clicking overhead, the smell of cigars and salt air. He kneels down, looks you dead in the eyes, and whispers 3 rules. He calls it the blood oath. See nothing, say nothing, forget nothing. You memorize the words instantly. You're a sharp kid, but you have no idea what they actually mean. And honestly, you don't care. You're 7. You just want to go back to your party and eat cake. The only thing that matters to you is that life is good. The pool is warm and the servants bring you whatever you want. You grow up behind a wall of armed men your family calls Los Fantasmas. The ghosts. They follow you everywhere, to school, to the beach, to the bathroom door. You're the youngest son, the baby. So, they keep you far away from whatever daddy actually does for a living. All you know is that your estate has its own zip code, your father has his own army, and the local villagers look at you like you're either a saint or a demon. You're 15 when curiosity finally gets the best of you. It's a perfect Saturday. Blue sky, calm water. Everyone's distracted by some big meeting at the main house. You spot your father's speedboat tied to the private dock. A 40-foot cigarette boat with twin engines that cost more than a commercial airplane. You want to feel the rush just once. You bribe the dock guard with a watch worth more than his yearly salary. You climb in, turn the key, and punch the throttle. The acceleration slams you back in your seat. The world becomes a blur of blue and white spray. You're laughing, screaming, feeling alive for the first time in your bubble-wrapped existence, and then you see them too late. A tiny fishing boat. A man and his son pulling nets in the shallows. You try to turn. The speedboat doesn't respond the way you thought it would. The impact is sickening. Wood splinters, bodies fly. The fishing boat folds like paper and vanishes under the churn of your wake. You cut the engine. The silence is deafening. You're shaking, gasping, scanning the water for survivors. There are none, just debris, just spreading red in the turquoise blue. You killed them. A father and his son gone because you wanted a thrill. Your brain spirals into panic. You picture yourself in handcuffs, prison, shame, your father's disappointment. But the handcuffs never come. By the time you limp the damaged boat back to the dock, Los Fantasmas are already there. Nobody yells, nobody lectures, they just make phone calls. By nightfall, the Coast Guard has been paid off. The fisherman's family has been compensated and relocated to another province with instructions to forget they ever had a husband or a father. The boat is repaired, and the blood stains are scrubbed. By morning, it's like nothing ever happened. You learn your first real lesson. Rules are for other people. In your world, consequences are just another bill that money can pay. You should feel guilty. Part of you does, but a bigger part feels something else, something that scares you. You feel untouchable. Lately, the family business has been stable, which in your world means nobody's actively trying to murder you this week, so they let you attend a real school. An elite international academy on the coast, diplomats' kids, politicians' kids, and the children of men whose money comes from sources nobody asks about. Even with Los Fantasmas watching from tinted SUVs in the parking lot, you're finally surrounded by kids your own age. But there's a problem. You don't know how to talk to people, so you've never had to. Your whole life people have come to you, served you, obeyed you. Making friends is a skill you never developed. So you stand alone at lunch, you sit alone in class, you feel like a ghost yourself, invisible despite your expensive clothes and famous last name. Then you notice something. There's another rich kid, son of some telecom mogul, and he's the most popular guy in school. Why? Because last month he flew half the class to Cartagena on his father's private jet for his birthday party. Your brain connects the dots. Friendship isn't earned, it's purchased. The next week, you buy the school's arcade, the whole building. You tell the owner to let every student play for free forever and send the bills to your family's accountant. Suddenly, you're not the weird, quiet kid anymore. You're a legend. You're everyone's best friend. You've got a crew of admirers following you everywhere, laughing at your jokes, fighting for seats next to you at lunch. You learn your second lesson: loneliness is just a price tag you haven't paid yet. Deep down, you know these people don't actually like you. They like your money, your access, your power. But you bury that thought. You'd rather have fake friends than real loneliness. But there's a group who won't play the game. Old money aristocrats, families that have been wealthy since before the cartels existed. They look at you like you're new money trash, a narco kid playing dress up in their world. And since they don't know exactly how dangerous your father is, they're not afraid to show their contempt. You've always had Los Phantasmas between you and any real threat. But lately, the constant security feels like a leash. You want to prove you can survive on your own just once. So you bribe your driver to lose the security tail during a trip to the mall. You slip out a back entrance feeling like a genius, heart pounding with the thrill of freedom. That's when you run into them, 4 of the aristocrat kids skipping class, smoking cigarettes behind a construction site. They see you alone, and their eyes light up. "Look who wandered off the leash," one of them says. You try to talk your way out. You offer them money. Cash, watches, whatever they want. You're practically begging. They laugh in your face. "We don't want your dirty money, narco." The first punch catches you in the stomach. You fold like a chair. Then they're all on you, kicking, stomping, spitting. You taste blood. You feel ribs crack. You're crying. Actually, crying in the dirt behind a construction site while rich kids who've never worked a day in their lives beat you like a stray dog. They leave you there broken, humiliated, covered in blood and dust. Los Phantasmas find you 20 minutes later. They don't say a word. They just pick you up, put you in the SUV, and drive. But you see their eyes in the rear-view mirror, cold, calculating, already planning. 2 days later, those 4 kids are pulled out of school. Officially, family emergencies. Unofficially, 2 of them will never walk without a limp again. 1 will need reconstructive surgery on his jaw. The 4th just vanishes. You never find out what happened to him. You don't ask. But that's not the real lesson. The real lesson comes that weekend. The parents of those aristocrat families show up at your estate. These are people who've looked down on your family for generations. Old money, blue blood, families that owned land when your grandparents were still picking coffee beans. They arrive in their Mercedes and their designer suits, and they kneel in your father's living room. Literally kneel. The mothers are sobbing. The fathers are trembling. They beg for forgiveness. They kiss your father's hand. They kiss your hand, a 15-year-old kid. They write checks. They sign documents. They promise eternal loyalty and silence. By Monday, their children are enrolled in boarding schools in Switzerland. You'll never see them again. That night, alone in your room, you look in the mirror and you smile. Not because you're happy, because you finally understand. Money is just paper. Any idiot can have money. But power, real power, is making the people who thought they were above you crawl on their knees and beg. You like how that feels. You like it a lot. Something inside you shifts. You're not the scared kid in the dirt anymore. You're the thing that makes other people scared. And you never want to feel weak again. You drop out of school that same month. What's the point? What's some textbook going to teach you that the real world hasn't already? You stand before your father and tell him you're ready to learn the real business. Ready to earn your seat at the table. He doesn't hug you. He doesn't smile. He just reaches into his desk, pulls out a machete with a mother-of-pearl handle, and slides it across the wood toward you. "Your grandfather used this," he says. "Now you will." Your criminal education begins at the bottom. No corner offices, no fancy titles. You're running with the soldiers, learning the trade from the mud up. Your first job is collections. You ride along with veterans to watch how it's done. A restaurant owner who's been skimming payments, you watch them explain calmly that fingers are negotiable, but loyalty isn't. The man pays, he apologizes, he thanks them for their understanding. You realize terror is a business like any other. Supply and demand. You supply the fear. They demand the mercy. Simple economics. You graduate to logistics. Midnight runs on jungle airstrips, loading planes with product under moonlight. You learn the routes, the bribes, the backup plans. You learn that half the police force is on payroll and the other half is too scared to interfere. You're 18 when you make your first kill. A thief who stole from a shipment. They give you the machete, the same one your grandfather used, and they watch. Your hands shake, your stomach heaves, but you do it because you have to, because this is who you are now. Afterward, you don't feel guilty, you feel powerful. You've graduated summa cum laude from the University of Violence, and for the first time in your life, you feel like you truly belong. The inevitable arrives on a Tuesday morning. Your father doesn't die of old age. He doesn't get sick. He gets ambushed. A rival cartel, the Northerners, hits his convoy on the mountain highway. 30 men, RPGs, and automatic weapons. They don't just kill him. They make a statement. They send pieces of him back in separate boxes. The funeral is a parade of hypocrites. Rivals sending flowers with condolence cards while their soldiers sharpen knives behind the scenes. Politicians who owe their careers to your father crying crocodile tears for the cameras. But you're not crying, you're calculating. The empire is bleeding, the wolves are circling, and the biggest threats aren't the Northerners. They're your own blood. Your older brother thinks he's next in line. Your uncle thinks his experience trumps your youth. Your cousin has been whispering to the Northerners for months, thinking nobody noticed. You noticed. You understand immediately. In this business, succession isn't inherited, it's taken. The Civil War lasts 6 months. You don't win by being the strongest or the bravest. You win by being the most ruthless, the most patient, the most willing to do what others won't. Your cousin. You tip off the DEA about his biggest shipment, he dies in the raid. Your hands stay technically clean. Your uncle are a car bomb on his morning commute. Everyone blames the Northerners. Your brother, you invite him to a peace summit. Neutral ground. White flags, he shows up with hope in his eyes, and you have him shot before he reaches the door. You watch from a window, sipping coffee as his body falls. By Christmas, you're the last one standing. You sit in your father's chair in your father's office and you smell his cologne still lingering in the leather. You're the new king, El Jefe, the boss of bosses. You've won the crown. But the price was becoming a monster. And the scariest part, you don't feel bad about it. You feel proud. The next decade is your golden age. Your empire stretches across 3 countries. You don't count money anymore. You weigh it. You have accountants who manage accountants. Lawyers who've never seen the inside of a courtroom because no case against you ever gets that far. Governors call you for permission. Senators send you birthday cards. Police chiefs attend your parties and thank you for the invitation. You've bought so many politicians you could start your own Congress. You build mansions, hospitals, churches. The poor villages love you. You're their patron saint. They're Robin Hood. They don't know about the bodies. They don't want to know. You start believing your own mythology. The newspapers call you untouchable. And you think they're stating a fact, not asking a question. You look in the mirror and you don't see a criminal. You see a god. That's when the rot begins. You fire advisors who warn you about threats. You call them paranoid, weak, stuck in the past. You stop checking the shadows. You stop respecting the game. You get comfortable. The young guys in your organization whisper that you've gone soft. You don't hear them. You're too busy enjoying the view from the top. The new threat doesn't announce itself. It just grows. A Mexican super cartel. They've done what nobody thought possible. They've consolidated, professionalized, gone corporate. They've got MBAs running logistics. They've got hackers draining accounts. They've got lawyers who make yours look like parking ticket defenders. Your advisors warn you. They show you the numbers. Territory lost. Shipments intercepted. Accounts frozen. You laugh it off. You call them insects. You say a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep, but they're not sheep. They're a swarm of termites. And they've been eating your foundation for years while you were busy admiring your reflection. The collapse happens on a quiet night. You wake up not to explosions, but to silence. Your phones are dead, all of them. The security feeds are black, the internet is down, silence is the warning. By dawn, your empire is ash. They hit everything simultaneously. Your warehouses, your airstrips, your safe houses. They knew every location, every schedule, every guard rotation. Someone sold you out, probably several someones. Your soldiers are dead or scattered. Your money is frozen or stolen. Your politicians are suddenly unavailable. Your police chiefs don't answer the phone. In 12 hours, everything you spent 20 years building is gone. You grab a duffel bag, cash, fake passport, a gun you probably won't get to use. You slip out through the service tunnels while your mansion burns behind you. You run for the coast. You have a boat stashed for emergencies. You can make it to international waters, disappear, rebuild somewhere else. That's what you tell yourself. You're cutting through a slum when they find you. Not the cartel, just junkies. Street addicts who see a man in expensive clothes carrying a heavy bag. Your old instincts kick in. You puff up, you shout. Do you know who I am? I run this country. They look at each other and laugh. They don't see a king. They see a delusional old man in dirty clothes. They jump you. You can't even fight off drug addicts anymore. They beat you with pipes and rocks. They take your bag, your watch, your shoes. They break your leg and leave you in the mud. You crawl. You drag yourself through filth and garbage toward the mangroves, toward the water. Maybe you can still make it. Maybe you can hide until things calm down. You pull yourself into the swamp. The water is black and warm. The roots twist around you like fingers. The mud sucks at your broken body. You wait for rescue, for death, for something. The fever comes first, then the shaking, then the darkness creeping in from the edges. Your last thought isn't about your empire. It isn't about your money or your power or the thousands of lives you destroyed. Your last thought is your father's face. That look of disappointment he gave you when you were 7 and couldn't recite the blood oath fast enough. You spent your whole life trying to make him proud, and now you're dying in a swamp, alone, forgotten, being eaten by crabs. The man who made millionaires kneel dies smelling like rotting fish. Nobody will ever find your body. Nobody will ever know what happened to the great El Jefe. You'll just be another rumor, another ghost story, another lesson that power is borrowed, never owned.